welcome to Real Talk My, organized by Meta and Facebook Malaysia along with Cares, which today we will be having a conversation, a necessary one about mental health. We are currently broadcasting live from Dewan Tuku Chancellor in University of Malaya, and we are also live from Cares YouTube and Facebook. To fellow audiences, online and physical will be giving out certificates as well, so please don't forget to register through a QR code in which will be given at the end of the event. There are also giveaways from Meta. Whoever posts pictures from this event on their Instagram with some reflection as their caption, do include the hashtags MyUMCares, Podcast and Real Talk. Tag our Instagram at MyUMCares and give it a follow, thumbs up, and lucky winners will be receiving some great giveaway. So I hope everyone has settled down and we may begin today's event. I'm sure everyone would agree with me that mental health has become more and more pertinent for us to talk about, especially among youth. This conversation is important for us to have as we venture in this world, not just as individuals, but also together as a community. So before anything, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Hafiza Nazira Pridaus, a second-year TESOL student from University of Malaya, and I will be moderating for today's event. So we're just going to have a casual talk with our fellow panelists. Our first speaker, known mostly for his short 1-minute insightful videos that often goes viral on the internet from time to time, Hafiz, aka Slurpee Crank. Hi Hafiz, it is a pleasure to have you here with us.
Do I say hi back? Hi.
Hi. Hi, okay. And we also have the honor to have one of our most renowned professors from the psychology department, Prof. Musin. Thank you so much, Prof, for being here and sharing your thoughts with us.
You're welcome. Look forward for the discussion.
Okay. Okay, so to those who are online, if you have any questions for our speakers, please do post them for the audiences. And then also for in the DTC, we will be entertaining your questions at the end of the event. So without delaying any longer, Prof. Musin, I mentioned previously that mental health has become a very important topic for all of us to talk about because it not only affects us mentally, but also to our physical well-being. Can you tell us more about how mental health can affect us physically?
Okay, thank you very much. Very good start. When try to link between physical health and mental health. In fact, it is very important, and World Health Organization, for example, has defined health with mental health. So no health without mental health. So that to suggest how important the mental health to any person, because it will, define your status of your health. So you might be physically well, but if you are under a lot of distress, you are very, I would say, somebody like very anxious, for example, or tense up for the exam. So your mental health might be affected. So your health overall also not, I would say, in the topmost or in the best positions. And of course, there are very important link between physical health and mental health. We know that even science have shown that our body composed of, like for example, hormones, neurochemicals, and all these I would say, neurological system in our body, and that neurological system in the body will subsequently lead to or influence your mental health. They are very close links. Someone who actually having, for example, hypertension or diabetes. I'm talking about later age, not for youth per se, but they might have diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and it will subsequently affect your physical health. And of course, other diseases, like you have anxiety, for example, you become overly anxious about things. Students here probably worry about exam. No one, if you're not worried for exam, also not normal, I guess. So you have to be worried, but it must be within what they call limit, not interrupting your focus, not interrupting your sleep, your what they call interpersonal relationship. This all important. So that's how to overall to define between the normal response toward things happening, for example, relationship issue, exam issue, and so on, versus someone who actually already so-called having disorder or disease from medical point of view. So this is the link between mental health and physical health. And of course, if you another way how this being linked, someone who have, for example, anxiety excessively, or have depressions, by definition also depression, for example, the energy is low, you feel very tired easily, fatigued, So this is initially mental health issue, become a physical health, it's influence physical health. So if you can see just now, I like giving 3 scenarios. There are a few other scenarios how to link between mental health and physical health. But in brief, I think that's a contribution or link between mental health and physical health that many people experience. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prof. I think it is important for us to be aware because our mental health is directly affecting our physical health. Okay, so Hafiz, from your own experience as a fellow youth, have you ever had any personal mental health struggles until it affects you physically?
First of all, hi, UM. It's been an honor to be here. So I want to thank all the panel and everyone who's sitting in front of me, including Zarina, and then everyone lah. So what was the question again?
Have you ever had any personal mental health struggles until it affects you physically as a fellow youth?
Like right now, I'm a little bit anxious right now because I haven't done this in 2 years, right? I haven't talked to people for 2 years. So basically, to answer your question, has ever mental health affecting me physically, right? I think it is. Yeah, I think I've been into that position where I am overly anxious, I am overly stressed, that I feel like macam my badan kan, dia rasa sakit. Dia rasa macam, I feel like I'm really exhausted all the time. I feel like I don't want to do anything. I feel like I just want to lay in bed. And I feel like everybody here has experienced that thing. At least once kan? If you're normal, if you're like a normal human being, you would actually experience that. Everybody have to face that at one point. Sebab as a human being, you all have some sort of, orang cakap apa, macam limitation to what you can do or what you can like macam how do I say this in the proper way? I mean, bila kita sorang-sorang, kan, bila kita like we want to depend too much on ourselves, we almost feel like macam it's a burden. Like sometimes you need to share with people, sometimes you need to like let go of what you feel, sometimes you need to like macam share lah your whole journey to another people kan. So to answer the question really shortly, I say yes, it is. Yeah, yes. I've been in that position where my mental state actually affecting my physical health. Actually,
as a youth, what do you think we struggle about the most?
What?
As a youth, what do you think we struggle about the most?
I can't listen to that question.
I think as a youth, personally, we have a lot of mental health struggles, right?
Okay.
So what do you think, as a youth, all of us struggle about the most?
Oh, what do you guys struggle about as a youth? Oh, I see. So I speak for the youth now. Oh, that's a huge task. Okay, so as someone that I think I'm just your age group. I think I'm just 20-something. Like here's 20-something, right? So the thing that I struggle the most, that I think all of us struggle, is actually the need of approval. We need approval from our peers, from our friend, from our family. Like I wanted to prove so much, I wanted to be someone so much that I end up being nobody at one point. Like I want some sort of approval. Like I need to study hard so that my family is going to be proud of me. And then when I do that and I actually achieve what I achieve, then I feel nothing. Right? So it's like an agreement that you make with yourself to be not happy in the moment, so that one day you can be happy. So, to answer your question, it's actually approval. Yeah, I struggle from approval a lot. Even though people, okay, let me say this very clearly. I'm not that famous, but then, macam in a normal community, I am famous. Let's face it, right? So, point is, when people look at me, they see me as someone yang, macam, oh, he's above normal people. They kind of like see me like, oh, this guy got followers, this guy got this guy got that. But in reality, I'm just a 20-year-old kid. I feel the same thing as you do. I am very normal. I face your struggle as well. But then people tend to like, oh, he have it right. He do this, he do that. He like this, like that. But I'm very normal. I feel the same way. Hence why I do what I do. Because masa I first starting to make videos, actually I know that some of you don't know who I am. I make videos online. I make like, maybe you can say motivational videos, but to me, I'm not even making motivational videos. I make videos for myself. I don't even have friends, bro. I have like 3 friends in real life. That's one of my friends. I have 2 left. No one. That's it. In real life, you might see me, oh, that guy's famous, he got like 500k followers. No, I'm very single. I have 3 friends. That's the reality, right? So, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point of my telling this story?
So I think you're trying to say that what we struggle about the most, what we share the most common struggle is our need for approval.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, our need of approval. So that's answer your question.
Thank you so much, Hafiz, for sharing that. And I think all of us can relate, right? As a fellow youth, we constantly in need of validation and approval from our parents, our friends, and even right now we are seeking approval from our fellow audience, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Even on the stage right now, you want your audience to listen at you, to look at you, right? You want that feeling. If like, I nampak kan, macam ada orang main phone kat belakang sana, contoh, right? Belakang sana, budak UM tak main phone. Budak UM bagus, right? Oh, semua timbang pun. No, I mean like, if you see like someone not paying attention to you, like, am I doing something wrong? That's how you feel, right? That's how you feel, right? In the class, right? Like, you don't feel like your friend listen to you. You don't feel like your lecturer listen to you. You don't feel like your mom listen to you. Like, am I doing something wrong? Is there something wrong with myself? No, it's not. That's how the world works. You are the one who's going to listen to you the most.
Thank you so much, Hafiz. That was indeed very
Sorry, I
nice
got
for
carried
you to
away.
say. No, it's okay. Prof, relating to Hafiz's question just now, I just told everyone that we are all always in need of constant validation, right? In need of approval. So we are always constantly anxious or maybe stressed and pressured to seek those approvals. So in your opinion, what are the lifestyle changes or anything that could at least light our burden a bit?
Yeah, actually, even this morning I was in the clinics, and I'm dealing a lot of with people with severe mental health condition, or in fact having mental illness. So when we're talking about youth, for example, yes, approval is one of the issues. I think I agree, especially you speak from yourself, speak for yourself, that would be good. But I think beyond that, I mean, this is intertwined, the issues, approval is one, for example, relationship is one, academic is another one. So they are all related to each other and it's very complex. I don't like to really single out, oh, this is academics, only, or this is because of approval only issues, or they are interrelated, because you need approval from someone. Definitely you need interpersonal relationship with that. So interpersonal relationships will indirectly link to the issue. So talking about so many issues, that you might encounter, how to lighten the risk or to prevent the deteriorations of the mental health. I think in the medical field, we always mention about prevention. Prevention, then you have the illness, then you have to cure it, subsequently. So prevention-wise, I think it's very important. I think if you go to other mental health talk, they also have a similar, try to promote, for example, exercise is very, very good. I'm talking about lifestyle. So you have regular exercise where when you do exercise, actually your body produces a lot of hormone, endorphin, for example. So it will, buffer if you have mild stress, moderate stress. Of course, you need more buffer to control it. That's one of the steps. And exercise is important. But besides that, healthy lifestyle also important. For example, if you are eating, for example, take in moderation, because if you eat too much of calorie or sugar and it's exposed you to medical illnesses, and subsequently will affect, as I mentioned early on, physical health. If you have all these diseases, especially at the early age, it can affect your productivity. And when productivity has been affected, I'm talking about you should be producing output higher level, but because of certain issue, mental health issue, your output lower. That's by definition has already affected your mental health, because mental health by definition you should be able to do output of your own capability, whether academic, relationship, social, and so on. So if you lower than that, there's issue of mental health there need to be addressed. So healthy lifestyle is very important. Exercise and eating nowadays, and also important because we are very rich. I use the word very rich country because food everywhere, 24 hours a day. So people will love to eat heavily at night, sometimes, or smoking even. That's also not healthy. Or taking excessive alcohol also. Not very healthy, or as a way of coping of stress. People smoke because of their stress, they said, then they smoke. And that will have a negative cycle. You tend to smoke more and more subsequently. So that's from lifestyle point of view. Another point of view of prevention or to reduce the risk is, we use the word positive psychology. Positive psychology is very important. It is like promoting your healthy lifestyle psychologically. So what among the content of this is, for example, have a good habit. For example, show appreciation to other people, helping other people in difficulties, so you feel happy of helping people. For example, do cherish light moment, for example, when talking about social media, sometimes, we can see, I think sometimes so many negative emotion being put up, being displayed rather than the positive emotion. That I think one of the drawback of social media sometimes, because people tends to ventilate their emotion. They are probably, as you mentioned just now, not many friends, but you have many followers online. Yeah, but that perhaps some people, they go for online because of they are more comfortable connecting to other people without physical contact. Some people, they use that to cope with the stress. Some people, we notice those who are having social performance anxiety, for example. Also some social phobia, meeting group of people. So they're probably more comfortable through social media. So, okay, so I already outlined the positive psychology, some of them, about exercise just now, about having healthy lifestyle. Of course, there are some other elements. Healthy lifestyle a lot. For example, issue of sleep. Sleep is important. I always mention to people, sleep is like, we need energy to eat. So we eat. But eat too much also not healthy. So sleep to me, I mentioned to many people, including my patient, sleep is like our spiritual need, for the mental health. What they need is sleep, regular sleep, for example. So sleep should be regulated, because I know, being a student, sometimes you don't sleep throughout night, and that can be very bad if you lack of sleep, because your body need to, sleep we take for granted, but actually it's a biological process during your sleep. So many neurochemical produced by the body, naturally, so this will balance out during when you awake. So this cycle has been there as a human being, the creature of the God. So if you change this pattern, it can affect your emotions subsequently. So I think that's enough to answer that question.
Thank you so much, Prof. I think it's very, thank you so much, Prof, for sharing that. Because as a student myself, I always struggle with my sleep, with my sleeping time. I think all of us can relate, right? Because we need to stay up to finish our assignments, or it can just be pure from anxiety and such. Okay, so a lot of questions and comments are coming in from both our Facebook and YouTube platforms. I'll be reading those questions and comments later on to our panelists. But before that, I'd like to remind you guys that we'll be giving out certificates at the end of the event. So please don't forget to register through the QR code that we'll be sending at the end of the event. There are also giveaways from Meta. Whoever posts pictures from this event on their public Instagram account with some reflection as their caption, do include the hashtags MyUMCares, Podcares, and Real Talk. Tag our Instagram at MyUMCares and give it a follow, a like, and some lucky winners will be receiving these giveaways, such as this umbrella right here next to me, this thing, and also a really pretty handkerchief. Okay, so now I am excited to read some of the comments and questions from our fellow online audience. Okay, so Najwa from YouTube says that, I agree, Sophie Craig. We do struggle a lot as a youth, peers, parents, teachers, lecturers, and many more. Okay, and then, so a question coming in from Amni Azaha on YouTube for Prof. Musin. Okay, Prof, I always need validation from my peers. How do you think I can avoid that and seek validation from myself only? Prof. Musin?
I heard about the first part of the question. I always need validation from my peers.
Yeah, my peers. How do I seek validation from myself only?
From
myself only.
Yourself, from the
I think she's trying to say that it's important for us to seek validation from ourselves only instead of other people.
I think this about validations, too much, we need validation, approval from many people. If too much on that until, everything you need to get endorsement, from your peers or your parents, it expose yourself to be dependent persons, You cannot be making decisions on your own, and you cannot making decisions without help, a system from other people. So approval is good because we're living in the community. To some extent, we have to do something that approved by the community. We cannot doing something outlier from the community. It should be accepted by the community. But sometimes we have to also look at ourselves. Probably we can list down, what is our objective, what is our interest of doing something, for example, or that particular activity that you seek approval from other people. So you probably can write down and put it down somewhere, so at least it will not only an abstract things, in your mind, where if you don't control that, you probably going on need approval from one people to another, but you have certain clear desire, objective of why you want to do that particular matters, why you want to make decision of that way. So I think that will reduce your tendency to rely to others, for approval on whatever you are doing. I think that's my suggestions. If you too much depends on the approval of people of making any decisions.
Thank you so much, Prof. Hussein. How about you, Hafiz? What do you think? What do you do if you constantly struggle to seek validation from others? How do you settle that for yourself?
Okay, I'm not a professional, so whatever I answer is solely based on my own opinion. Okay, as a youngster. So basically, you need to ask yourself. Actually, for me, I think when you try to get validation from other people, it comes. I think. It comes from a place that we call insecurity. Right? You're insecure about yourself, about something. I don't know what that something is, because we are all different people. Kita semua lain-lain. We all have our own different. Kita ada insecurity kita sendiri. But then, I always ask myself this one particular question. Siapa nak tahu that question? Angkat tangan. I don't see many hands. Not many hands.
Yeah, a lot of
not
people
everyone.
raising their hands.
Okay. I always ask myself, what exactly are you running away from? Ask yourself that sometimes. What exactly are you shying away from? What exactly? You need to know that. Because to me, clarity is what you need in life. When you don't ask yourself enough question, you don't get clarity. Clarity itu maksudnya pencerahan. Right? You need clarity. And to get clarity, you need to ask enough question. Bukan dekat orang lain, dekat yourself. And based on that question just now, how do I get what?
I think clarification from yourself.
Validation for myself is to ask yourself enough question, not too much, just enough. That's it.
Wow, thank you so much, Hafiz and Prof. Hussein, for answering that question. Okay, so we have another question from Nufar Ruhazlan. Hi, I'm a depression fighter at the moment. I was warded due to my depression and suicidal attempts a few months ago. Is it really, if we got warded, it will affect us in a way of our job qualification? I think she's worried of her career path in future. Yeah, Prof. Hussein, you can go ahead.
So, the one who asked question actually already affected by depressive disorder or the depressive fighter, she used the word. So basically, I don't think it will affect your future. That's the brief answer I will give. You have to talk to your therapist, and usually therapists will be, we are, as a psychiatrist, that's why we've been trained, to talk in the manner that by right, should be therapeutic to the person as well, the one we are talking to. So when talking about future, for example, first, your information about this illness is very confidential. It's not we bring to talk to what they call layman, other people, or to anybody randomly. No, we don't do that. In fact, documentation, everything. For example, in my hospital, PPUM, I have to say, we safeguard the information very well, so it's not even cannot be accessed by anybody, any other doctors. So confidentiality, no one should know about your illness. Secondly, if you've been treated well, you should be able to do whatever you like, you wish in your life. You're a student and you develop your career path subsequently. We follow that way. I have successful people, but they have mental illnesses, for example, depressive disorder, very common, anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder. This is very common. In fact, depression, for example, is in the statistic showed that in National Health Mobility Survey, showed as much as we expect 12%. The people in public, general population, have depressive disorder. So if you follow the treatment regime consists of generally two main components. Of course, the psychotherapy, or the talking therapy, for ordinary people use that word, and as well as, if really needed to, you might be given medication, for example. Not a must rule anyway, depend on how serious your condition. So if you follow this treatment regime, you should be able to get out from your illness and lead to normal living, And beside that, these two elements in the treatment, the psychosocial factor is very important. Your friend support, your organization support. In fact, some people, they are doing quite well, but when they go to working environment later on, they get this illness because of the workplace issue. So it might be your issue is probably, as a student, you're stressed because of your study. You're working, you're stressed at work. You're at home, you're stressed with your domestic issue with your parents, or if you're married, with your spouse. So this is dynamic, it's not static. So it can change, it can progress, meaning your illness can be improved if you change the environment subsequently. So in brief, if you follow the advice by the therapies that you receive, you will be able to lead a normal living. Okay.
Thank you so much for the clarification. Okay, so Hafiz, I'm going to divert the topic a bit because this one is highly requested. Okay, there is a stereotype about how men are not allowed to cry or be fragile. As a man and a fellow youth yourself, what are your inputs regarding this?
I think that's okay. I think that's true. The stereotype, right? Laki tak boleh nangis. Men are not supposed to cry. Men are supposed to be strong. Men are supposed to be, what do you call that? The alpha
Strong.
or something like that. Yeah, I think it's. But if I want to answer a question, it's really short. You said, is it true? Yeah, I'm going to say yes. But it's going to be very short. So, yeah, that's it. Yes, I think so. You have
Okay,
any
because this topic is relating with toxic masculinity. Okay, so we wanted to ask your input about this because, we want men to be more expressive about their emotions. It's not wrong to have feelings, right, guys? So, what are your inputs regarding
As a guy, I would say, this is plainly as a guy, as a young guy, I would say, I also have issues on projecting what I feel. I mean, I don't speak for all of the guys, but for me, I'm speaking for me lah. I think as a guy, I have issues lah on projecting on what I feel. Sebab from time to time, I tend to think that people don't actually care, even if they say they care. But I don't think they care. That it's just something that has been going in my mind. That's one thing for sure. And then the reason why I have problem projecting of what I feel is because most of the time, guy tend to feel like they need to be strong for something, and you don't even know what that something is. Faham ke? Macam you have to look macam mature, you have to look like macam you're dependent, you have to look like you're strong enough to macam berdiri on your own 2 feet. Like you have to protect something. Like there's something. Macam it almost feel like I'm trying to protect my cakap apa? What's marwah in bahasa English?
dignity?
Yeah, it almost feels like that, but it's not that. But I don't know what that is. I can't explain to you because I don't understand what it is. But then if you're a guy, you can feel it. Guys, give me a nod if you feel it. Like a nod, like a little nod, if you feel it. Yeah, almost all. Almost all. So, point is, I don't know. What is your question again? Can you please repeat?
How to encourage guys to
How
be
to
more
encourage guys to be
expressive.
more, okay. Actually, you can't teach that. You tak boleh nak suruh orang yang tak reti nak express dia punya feeling. It becomes a force. And these things are not a force. Macam when you try to like macam encourage people, it cannot be like forceful punya, faham ke? Like I cannot go to someone who can't speak English and start speaking English with them, because they couldn't understand. So it's a language barrier actually between guys. Macam people tend to see like macam, oh, guys cannot express their feeling. They can, but it's just not to the right person. I mean, like, they can be vulnerable to people who can communicate, but not everybody, not everyone. Because I've been macam bersembang dengan one or two of my friends yang ada masalah ni kan, but then they actually can express their feeling, because actually guys can cry, but not in front of you. You know, they cry. Actually, they cry in the bathroom. They cry somewhere in the car. Somewhere they cry. They actually cry. Under different circumstance lah. Maksudnya macam situasi tu berbeza. Ada orang menangis sebab dia markah exam rendah. Ada orang menangis sebab dia putus cinta. Ada orang menangis sebab dia jauh dari family, ataupun maybe you feel like rejected by the family members or whatever. But guys cry too, but they just don't cry in front of you, right? So it's actually a language barrier thing lah sebenarnya. Macam you need to find someone who can understand what you say. It's not even understand what you feel. It's just understand what you say, right? Because no one can understand what you feel, because you're the only one. Every feeling that you feel right now is a unique feeling, because you're the only one in your shoes. Nobody else. Even a psychiatrist, you're the only one in your shoes. You can understand your feeling very well, right? No one else can understand it as much as you. But then, for me lah, if I want to communicate with someone, I would try to find someone who can understand what I say instead of what I feel. Because when you want something, macam you macam, oh, aku nak cari orang yang boleh faham perasaan aku, that's asking for too much, bro. That's asking for too much. You need to ask less. Just understand what I say. Because people can actually understand language, but they don't understand what you feel on the inside. They're not Professor X. They can't understand you, for real. So it's not just guys, it's girls as well, right? So I would suggest guys and girls and everyone, because we all are just a human being, right? Despite of the stereotype ke whatever, we feel the same. We tend to feel the pressure. Takkanlah student lelaki je feel the pressure, right? Student perempuan pun sama juga. But then we often see that student perempuan macam boleh express their feelings more, right? But then guys don't. Guys tend to take macam a little bit step too far sometimes. So my whole point is ask for less. Don't try to find someone who can understand your what you feel. Try to find someone who can understand what you say. That's easy. It's actually easy. When you switch that switch, bila you tukar that switch, your mental state, it's easy to find someone who can understand what you say. Faham ke? When you asking less, you can find more. Asking less is finding more. So I think that might answer your question. It might not, but I don't know. But then I hope you answer your question.
It does answer your question. Thank you so much for your input regarding that. Okay, so we have a comment from Damai Batisha in YouTube. I live my life being surrounded by men, and I swear it's hard to see men validate and express their feelings due to the men don't cry. I like to say that when you feel the breakdown, the deep feelings, find your person whom you feel comfortable being vulnerable with. Don't bottle things up. Okay, thank you so much, Jamia, for her input. Okay, so there's a question for both of the panelists. Is education the best way to overcome negative social perceptions on different genders? Would Prof. Muslim like to answer, or Hafiz would like to answer?
Oh, I answer first. Okay. The question is meditation can what?
Is education the best way
education
to
or meditation?
As education. Is education the best way to overcome negative social perceptions on different genders?
Oh, pelajaran, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Whew. That's a hard question. Is education is the answer for everything? Yes, it is. It might be. I tukar jawapan sebab live. It might be. Yeah, I think I strongly support that statement actually, because when, like I said just now, right? If you can recall, just recall a little bit. I say what? Clarity is what you need, right? So without education, without knowing it to the basic, at least the basic lah, Without knowing something at the very core level, macam just the basic, you can't get clarity, right? You tak boleh nak tahu what is this thing, what is that thing. So actually learning, bila kita belajar, we tend to see more things, we tend to explore more things. Dia bukan setakat belajar je. I mean like, how do I say this? To cut it short, because I don't know what is the right word, okay? To cut it short, yes, I strongly agree with that statement, and I feel like you guys need, we all need education to actually understand this thing better. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hafiz, for answering that question. Okay, so a question for Prof. Muhsin. Is it okay for people who are struggling with mental health to open up about their cuts and scars to friends publicly, hoping that their friends will understand their pain?
Yeah, I think open up and talk to someone. I think that's a key to relieve you from stress. I think that's the basic or the minimum rules I have to say, because as we discussed in length just now about manhood, you know, the ego itself, you know, not to share problem with others, you know, and cannot break down to other people, seeking help, probably a sign of weakness, all these, you know. So I think that has been the sentiment in the culture. I mean, not only culture in our place, you know, in other part of the world as well. About when talking about man versus woman, this always been the belief about men. That's why overall you can see the rate of suicide, for example, men is higher, like twice than the women. So basically, because they're not open up, this risk will be higher, you know, for men just now. So basically, you need to talk to someone, lower your expectation. That's very good, you know, as a person who suffer. If you can lower the expectation toward others, you probably will relatively see you receive more than your expectation. But if you put a higher expectation, you will perceive you probably receive less than what you expect. So that from the person who suffer. But the person who, this is a bit about the person who actually, as a listener, those who listen to the person who actually suffering, that person have to learn to be a good listener. Okay, active listening, you know, that means you have to interact, you have to give reflections what the person experience, and I mean, you yourself know about what you're feeling, but as a good listener, you should also be able to appreciate not only the words, meaning of what someone tell you, but to I'm not saying 100% feel as what the person feel, but to understand what this person feel. This is what we call empathy. Meaning, you know, empathy is one of the elements as a good listener. And also another quality, you know, non-judgmental, for example, to be a good listener. So non-judgmental means you cannot like conclude, you know, ini sebab apa, banyak dosa lah, ini sebab ada perkara lepas yang tak baik berlaku lah, macam-macam lah. So it's good to not to be judgmental if you listen from people who suffer mental distress. So listening definitely help as the first layer of help. In fact, when we talk about another version of helping people who actually in acute distress, we call it psychological first aid, PFA. The first step is listen. You know, you should look for people, look for who actually distressed or having problem around you. Then you should listen. So that's very important acutely if someone under distress to listen. So as a listener, sometimes you don't have to give too many comments, especially you are not professional enough. So sometimes your comment might, rather than helpful, more insult toward these people under distress. So we always see people who, for example, in the accident emergency, in the hospital, someone who actually overdose themselves, try to harm themselves. This is very acute stage. They're actually very at the emotional crisis. So usually, sometimes they always complain. Sometimes no one listen to them, no one understand them. So it is challenging sometimes because two people, they probably have two different set of values. So that's why actually you don't have to give so many reflections, toward the people who suffer, but rather being empathy and non-judgmental when you talk to people under distress. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Winston. I think all of us have our own secrets, struggles, and regrets in the past, right? And it's very hard to open up to someone. And when someone open up to us, I think empathy is a key. Empathy is a key, and just try to not be non-judgmental to their problems and such. Okay, so a question for Sloppy Crank. How to express our feelings to someone who put high expectations to us without feeling guilty for not achieving their expectations, although we did try our best?
Okay, first of all, I hate the question of how. Yeah, I'm gonna be really... Sekejap my spec dia jadi kabus. Yeah. I kind of hate the question of how, because think about it. How?
I mean, like
it's a very hard question. How is it? So the question is, how do I express what I feel towards the person yang have a high expectation towards me, without making them feel guilty about it? Okay. So like I say, if you ask me how do I say something to someone without making them feel guilty, that I can consider as asking for too much. Because in this world, right, if you feel something, right, bila you rasa something, right, and then you don't like it, you have to be honest about it. You have to be honest about it. It's not about jaga hati someone, jaga hati that someone, bro. You have a heart as well, right? If you say it politely what you want to say, and they get macam, you sense some sort of macam rejection from it, macam dia orang tak suka lah apa yang kita cakap, obviously, sebab when you point out benda yang salah, I mean, like, you guys have been in a relationship before, right? You guys have been fight between partners and all that, right? When you point out kesalahan, no one would like it. When you point out someone punya wrongdoing, tak ada siapa suka, faham ke? So actually, if you don't want to hurt their feelings, say it politely. To me lah, if I were to be the one, kan, say it politely. But it will hurt their feelings because first, maybe they're not aware of what they do, or maybe they do it too much. Faham ke? Sometimes bila orang buat silap dengan kita kan, and it becomes their routine. Macam orang buat silap dengan kita 1, 2 times, 3 times, it becomes their routine already. They keep on doing the same mistake again and again. And they feel like it's okay to do that. But then someday, you point out, hey, it's not okay to do this. And they feel like, oh, I've been doing this for like a year already. Why now? Right? They feel like, you feel like rejected lah bila you cakap benda tu. But then, to me, it's all about having that mental peace that you always want. Right? Even though it hurts them a little in the short period of time, but then along the way you punya relationship dengan that particular person akan lagi orang cakap apa, will be more cherished lah. So I think it's okay for you to tell them politely, but then I don't know how, sometimes you don't really know how to be polite, right? So I think it's a risk that you can take, kan? Because I don't really know how to answer that question, because for me, if I were that person, I would say it. I would be honest about it. Sebab kalau you live according to what their expectation, it's going to be a hard life for you, because expectation kan, dia akan keep on getting higher and higher. So sometimes you gotta like just express what you feel, but politely. You know what polite means, right? Politely. I mean like no one. Okay, contoh lah, my mom have high expectation on me. Takkanlah bila I cakap kat my mom kan, macam, ibu, baby ni, my mom call me baby. Okay, so yeah, baby ni rasa macam ni lah. Ibu boleh tak macam ni. If I say that to my mom, very politely, right? Takkan my mom tak faham. Mungkin dia terasa sikit, but then dia akan faham. It'll take them some time for them to digest what you say because they're not used to it. It's going to take some time, but they will digest it. They accept it or not, it's not your job. Your job is to tell them how you feel. Accepting it is them and God punya kerja lah. Faham ke? Like, the best thing that you can do is to let them know how you feel and say it politely. So that's my safe answer right there.
Thank you so much, Hafiz. Thank you for asking, for answering that question. Okay, so a comment said that from Z Ken Ong in YouTube, as no matter how idealistic or so great, you have to be realistic to change the world. By using something that people can resonate with, it's more effective to change. So thank you so much, Z Ken Ong, for that comment. Okay, so I've been showing all the questions to the panelists. So right now, I think we can open question for the physical audience. Anyone from among the audience currently in Dewan Tuku Chancellor would like to ask a question to our fellow panelists? A mic will be given to you and you can ask directly. Anyone?
Before anyone asks a question, can I chime in a little bit?
Yes, go ahead.
About the education just now, I just recall what I want to say. Sorry I took too long. Okay, education for mental health is very available these days. Very available. Like it's so readily available. Like you can actually go to the internet and search for it. Like how do I take care of my mental health? This and that. And then what I want to say is you can actually go to Instagram ataupun all these online platform and search for Miasa, search for befrienders, search for Awas, I think. So these are the type of orang cakap macam perbadanan yang actually provide education. They actually provide education on how to deal with this, how to deal with that. So actually you can. Okay, remember Miasa, befrienders, and also Awas. A lot more lah. Tapi that's the only three that I can recall right now. So you can actually find education untuk get yourself more awareness on how to deal with this kind of situation. Okay, so take note on that, I guess, probably.
Thank you so much, Hafiz, for that clarification for the first question just now. So any audience among the audience who would like to ask a question to the panelists? Yes, go ahead. Can anyone give mic to the person? Okay, while waiting, I'll just read a few comments. For the toxic masculinity, agree with Sleepy Crying, interesting, to its extent that I do not express my feelings towards someone that I don't trust. Maybe it is trust issue and gender barrier, because not everything personal you can say to a person. Okay, right, okay, so one of the audience would like to ask a question to the panelists. You can introduce yourself and say out your question.
Okay, my name is Akif Afiq Aridin, a second year English literature student. I would like to ask, since currently there is a trend of men coming out to talk about their mental health issues, and on the topic of toxic masculinity earlier, there is, however, still kind of a lot of stigma among us, like, oh, ala, apa je tu, like, man up lah bro, like, just deal with it yourself lah, like, when it comes to these mental health issues. So my question is, how do we get more men out there among students, among the community, to come out more and have candid and open conversations about mental health? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Hafiz, for that question. Hafiz or Prof. Musin would like to answer? Okay.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I mean, I think the important answer here is a culture, our culture. I mean, we bound by our culture. for example tadilah, men tak boleh cakap benda-benda yang showing your weakness. If you talk over your emotion, that's sign of weakness. So this must be discarded from our culture because that's not healthy. So I think this culture need to be changed. So how to change this kind of belief or the stigma toward mental health, inclusive? Men have to speak up as well. So perhaps this kind of culture can be initiated from school, for example. We need to change from early days. And of course, if we expect parents, that, for example, I think the one I met most, for example, if their children having problem, they're talking to their mother rather than talking to the father. You give example, Ibu just now, right? Even so, this is because the one who listen more usually is a woman lah, basically, and they also speak more if they have emotional problem. So this culture need to be changed, and it's good as for this generation, for example, to take as a first step. We can promote through social media, for example, for men to speak, because perhaps some people, they want to be anonymous, rather than identifiable, So the only thing, the balance just now, I relate to my earlier comment, sometimes too much of negative emotion in the social media, because that's what I always notice as well. But using social media or internet as a step to share your emotion, to train yourself to talk about, especially among men, that would be helpful. And if more people sharing, I think the culture will change. I think we can see even we use the word culture just now toward mental health, the stigma toward mental health. If you compare in 70s, 80s, those days, for Malay especially, ini memang buatan orang lah. That's always the answer lah. If you have a mental problem, you stress, So this in year 2000 onward, I think we can see is lesser lah overall, and that will be reflect from our clinics, for example, or from those who seeking help from befrienders, for example, you mentioned just now. We can see the statistic changes, probably in early days much less, but now it's more, and that's good. Even more venue for help as well, through online, through phone call, and so on. That's my comment on that.
Thank you so much, Prof. Would Hafiz like to answer the question as well?
Yeah. First of all, may I ask you a question? Is that question comes from your heart? Do you really want to know it? Yes, that comes from your heart, right? It's not like a question that you ask for the sake of a forum. Okay. Start with you. You're a man. You don't encourage other men. You encourage you. You're a man. Encourage yourself. We'll talk about it, right? You talk with your circle. People tend to think like, oh, I have to be a social media influencer. No, start with you, right? How to encourage other men out there? You encourage yourself. Talk about it. Start with one person, and it spread to your friend. Your friend has other friend, spread to other friend, spread to other friend. That's how it is.
Thank you so much, Hafiz, for answering that question. Okay, anyone else would like to ask a question to our fellow panelists? You can introduce yourself.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Hi. My name is Cici Nerdawati. I have a question about there's this thing called toxic positivity in mental health, and is it like when we're trying to help a friend that is in depression, and we tell them to be like be positive, like stay strong, is it included in the toxic positivity as well? And if it is, then how we can help them in better ways?
Okay, thank you so much for the question.
Thank you.
I'll just re-clarify about the question. I think she's asking about relating with toxic positivity, very close to toxic masculinity as well. When you say that you have depression and then the other people would say, just be happy. You know, when you can't do that, that is toxic positivity. So anyone would like to answer the question? Prof or Hafiz?
Okay, the example given, I will direct to that example. You're under distress. Think why this is small things make you stress. So this kind of remarks basically, or you label it under toxic positivity just now. I think I'm more like inclined toward judgmental. The one who listen to it. Looking at the problem. Not from the patient who suffer, but from the listener point of view. So that reflect that the person who listen actually no empathy plus judgmental is not healthy. I mean, that quality of being a listener is not there. So I don't know. I mean, toxic positivity, I cannot see the positive there. I see it is a toxic response, not healthy, because it is important. As the person who listen to another person problem cannot, but this is require higher level. Like we probably easier to do as a psychiatrist or as a psychologist. We have been day in day out dealing with this issue. So we don't put our own value. I mean, as a therapist, we don't put listener point of view, of things, because the person who suffer wearing different glasses, that means looking at, issues differently from you are. So you cannot, if you want to help this person relieving the stress he or she undergo at that time, you shouldn't reflect back as you are, as a listener, but you should reflect back from the person who shared that emotion to you. So this is very important, very crucial. If you try to help your friend, your relative, not to give to reduce further the way the response just now, to simplify the thing. To saying very easy conclusions. Might as well you reflect with you acknowledge this is really difficult for you, in life. That's not easy to face by anyone. That will be a word of reflection in the emotion toward the one who speaking up the emotion they are experiencing.
Thank you so much, Prof. How about Hafiz? Do you have any inputs, or do you want to answer the question?
It's very cold, so can you repeat the question?
Toxic positivity, right? Okay, so usually when a person probably tells about their problem, I'm stressed out, and then the other person who responds, just be happy. It's something so small. So she's trying to see that is toxic positivity. So do you have any inputs on that?
I see. So how do you deal with that?
Come again?
How do you deal with that? Is
Yes.
that the question? How do you deal with toxic positivity? Like the person. I don't think I have any good answer for the moment. But if you don't feel like you fit in those conversations, you can always walk away from the conversation, right? Like the conversation, you don't fit in it. Right? You don't feel like this person is telling me what I want to listen, or what do I feel pun dia macam tak validate what I feel. You can always walk away from the conversation politely, right? So it's actually a conversation is a choice. Actually, it's a choice that you make. It's a commitment that you make with someone. You can always walk away from not from a relationship, from a conversation. Yeah, just walk away. You don't like what they say, walk away from it. Don't take it to heart. Okay? It's just something that people say. Sometimes your friend Diorang pun macam you juga. They don't know what to say. So they tend to say something. They feel like, oh, maybe this might comfort you. But it's not, right? They're not a bad person. They just give bad advice. That's it. Walk away. Yeah.
Thank you so much for asking the question, and also to the panelists for answering those questions. Okay, so from this side of the audience, I think I can take one more student to ask a question. Do you guys have any question for the panelists? Anyone? Okay.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Ridwan, and then I'm from Faculty of Creative Arts. My question is about, I've been in this university for 5 years now, and I'm pursuing my master's, and I've seen a lot of my friends that struggle on mental health. The worst is I saw my friend cutting himself. What is the best way to encourage these people to seek for help? And then what is the best way to encourage them to seek for therapists, counselor, something like that? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you very much. I know it's very heartening, disheartening to hear this happening, and being a person who watching your friend doing all this, can be very difficult for you as well, the way you express. I conclude this is easy question, but difficult to answer. Okay, so I think back to the basic, you are as the person next to this particular individual, I think you have some role. I don't think pressure or pushing this person who experience emotional difficulties as a best solution. But perhaps if you listen to this person and engage this person to your conversations, as the person you are, as a person who understand the one who experienced the emotional problem just now. We don't know how long, but it will take some time. There's no magics to expect overnight. He or she will convince to come to seek treatment. But if you're doing that regularly, I believe the encouragement on the person who suffer just now will be increasing. It will be motivated. The only thing more important in this case, as a listener, you have very important role. In fact, to reflect back of your emotion toward the individual who suffers. So that's one of the way. Because at the worst scenario, I also dealing with this issue. The mental health problem affecting their study. So that's the worst scenario can happen. And without seeking help, if the mental health issue affecting your study, without properly seeking help, you probably have difficulty to problem. Come talk to someone who actually, if you think, you as a student probably is a burden emotionally for you to listen this in lengthy, to continue, just keep listening. You also need to study on your own. So, advice to seek help. Perhaps the first layer of help, I'm talking about organizations, the pegawai psychology, the psychological officer, because they also sometimes refer serious cases to us in Muslim Malaya Medical Center as well, or staff health clinic, subsequently, and will be re-evaluated again. So, very important, because your role as a student studying in the university, to to, if you have mental health problem, to come and seek help, because sometimes your academic performance will be affected by your mental health. If someone who not happy, have difficulty in sleeping, and perhaps unable to concentrate, focus on your study, definitely at the end will affect your result. So how to verify that your academic performance not due to yourself but due to the illness, by seeking formal help. So this is a way to persuade your friend in the difficult emotional problem to seek help. Alright, that's my answer.
Thank you so much, Prof. Hussein. I think all of us play an important role to just listen, Don't leave when someone if you see someone have any emotional or mental health struggle, don't leave them alone. Ask them to talk to someone. And it's okay right now, even if you have a mental health struggle, you're going through something, talk to someone. It's okay, don't pen it out all by yourself. Okay, so Hafiz, any comments, or do you want to answer that question? That is our last question right there.
I can't answer it. It's not on my area of expertise. Can't answer it.
Any words of encouragement maybe to people who are currently struggling?
But I have a question for Doctor. I mean, like if I were him, right? I see my friend cutting hands, right? What do I do in that situation? I don't know. How do I deal with that? Like I see actually my roommate, right? My roommate cutting hands, right? Actually, I see it. I see him cutting hands, right? So people actually say go seek for professional help, right?
Yeah.
It's a word that people say. It's like your baby is cute, but they don't mean it, right? It's something that most of us say, but they don't really mean it, right? So what if he cares? He truly cares, right? And he mean it, like seek professional help. But the guy doesn't feel like, I don't want to, right? So how do I, as a friend, want him to go?
That's my first part of my answer just now, about listening, talking to this person, And even though it looks like very acute situations, I imagine when you're in front of your friend, holding the blade, something like that. So just if you ask me immediately, you probably can talk to this person, what's come in your mind at the moment, very non-emotional questions, because if you give emotion to this person, hey, stop doing that, blah, 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 and so on, it will create more emotion, when dealing to this, you yourself should reduce the emotion on your part when you ask questions. And perhaps by taking, let he or she talk what actually in his or her mind that will buying time of that person at that particular moment. So you still again you listen, and sometimes when things more settle, I would ask whether can you think this is the best solution that you have, something like that. So he or she will answer yes or no depend on her cognition or her thought. Of course, subsequently, we're talking about breathing techniques, take a deep breath for a few seconds, and hold your breath and relieve for about 7 count or something like that. And I would say buying time during that particular moment. So perhaps the first 5 minutes when you saw the incident happen. Okay? So that's my suggestion.
Thank you so much, Prof. Okay, I think that's it for our questions for the audience in DTC. Before I wrap out everything, any words of encouragement or last remarks from the panelists to the audience?
Okay, I think it's back to my opening remark just now. I think mental health is important. we shouldn't take for granted our mental health. In fact, we should try to achieve our mental well-being. I use that word better. Mental well-being is a positive word, meaning the healthy state of your mind, being able to perform the role as an individual. So being a student, being a family members, being a friends, and so on. So I think you need to, what they call, to the prevention just now, have a good practice, what we call like positive psychology, you know, so reduce the risk of you are having trouble with your mental health. Some advice, you do more activity that you like, you know, this is the like something that you enjoy. You probably enjoy cycling, you probably enjoy walking around. Do that more, because it will buffer if you have emotional difficulty, it will buffer up your difficulty. So I think mental health point of view, that's very important to prevent from you go to more serious mental issues, especially you are as a young people and a student who are actually studying in university.
Thank you, Prof. So don't take mental health for granted. Okay, how about you, Hafiz? Any last remarks for the audience?
Hugging helps. Hugging, yeah. Guys don't receive many hugs. Yeah. So it's awkward at first, right? So you can hug your friend for like 8 seconds, 10 seconds. I know, long hugs. It helps a lot, actually. Helps a lot. Long hugs helps. Secondly, I'm very sorry I take this. It's supposed to be a forum, right? But I take it to heart because it's very personal to me. So I'm having a conversation actually with myself during this whole forum. And if I'm gonna leave this day one with something, I would say probably sorry, pakai spec. It became like that sometimes. When you breathe, right? Dia macam naik kabus. Take a good care of yourself. It's very simple. It's a very simple thing to do. Take a very good care of yourself. Sebab you are very responsible to who you are and what you're gonna be. So take a good care of yourself. It's very simple actually. Dia tak susah pun. Kita rasa susah sebab kita tak selalu jaga diri sendiri. Faham ke? Like taking good care of yourself. You feel like, wish, macam mana Why you say that? Why do you think of that? Macam mana jaga diri sendiri? The reason why you think of that, first thing, is because you don't take a good care of yourself. Okay? So don't ask me how to take good care of yourself, because I don't know you personally, right? So what I would say is talk more with yourself. Cakap dengan diri sendiri. I know that we should talk more with other people, but I think we're having less and less and less conversation with ourselves. You're not talking to yourself, right? You're subconsciously talking to yourself. Dalam otak. Wah, hari ni aku rasa macam ni, hari ni macam ni. But you're not talking to yourself. It sounds crazy at first, but then if you talk enough with yourself, macam I kan, okay, this is what I do. Most of the days, back when I kat Kedah lah, I kat KL tak boleh buat. Sebab my house environment doesn't allow me to do that right now. So masa I kat Kedah, I always go for a morning walk. Setiap pagi I go for a morning walk sebab I bangun awal. I'm a morning person, very morning person. So I wake up very early and I go for a morning walk, right? When I do my morning walk, I would always talk with myself. Cakap je dengan diri sendiri. Macam, okay, today I don't feel energetic. Today I don't Okay, why do I feel a certain way? Why do I? No, it's just a conversation. It sounds stupid at first, but please try it. Guys and girls, we're not competing each other, right? Try it. You can say it sounds stupid, but after balik ni, when you walk alone, you try have a conversation with yourself. Trust me, and you'll thank me later. Try. Tapi janganlah try sekali je. Try at least for a week. Whenever you walk, whenever you find yourself walking, stop listening to music. Stop. Just have an awkward conversation with yourself for a week. And you'll notice a difference. You become more conscious of what you feel. And consciousness is good. It's clarity. Consciousness is good. So, take a good care of yourself and talk more with yourself. And also, get yourself educated about mental health. Check Miasa, check Befrienders, check Awas. Okay? That's the first thing. Sebab bila kita get ourselves educated, that's when we know what to do. That's when we know how to deal with this. Macam in your case, I bet if you stalk Miasa long enough, Befrienders long enough, stalk what are the instruction, you'll find it. Alright? You'll find it. Whatever you need. So all you need to do is dig a little bit. Cari sikit. Faham ke? Information is there. You just need to reach it. The help is there. Reach it. Alright? Just one more step. One more step. You need just to reach it. Okay, that's all.
Thank you so much, Hafiz and Prof. Musin, for that. I think to conclude everything, we need to have more conversation about ourselves. I mean, our thoughts can be dangerous, you know, if we let it for too long. But also, I think we are the only person that we can like talk to. And if you have like a proper conversation, like you say, have a morning walk every day, I think that would really help. I think I'm going to try that myself. And also get yourself educated with mental health. I think this is why we make this kind of program, to get ourselves to just, even though it's a tough conversation, we need to have, it's a necessary conversation to have. And I think that's it for our from our panelists. Okay, so just a reminder to fellow audience, online and physical, we'll be giving out certificates as well. So don't forget to register through a QR code which will be given later on. There are also giveaways from Meta, as you can see, with this really nice umbrella. Whoever posts pictures from this event on their Instagram with some caption as a reflection, do include the hashtags MyUMCares podcast and Real Talk. Tag our Instagram at MyUMCares and give it a follow. Lucky winners will be receiving some great giveaway. Okay, so that's it from me and also from Prof. Muslim and Encik Hafiz. Thank you so much for taking the time, online and physical, for taking the time to listen to this talk, to actually make an effort to get yourself educated. Thank you so much. I hope you guys will take care of yourself. Personally, I think it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to cry sometimes. Just check out on each other often more. And, you know, we're still young, and, you know, even though you guys are not young or anything, we should have this conversation from time to time. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. I think that's it from us.